Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. We have something extraordinarily rare happening right now. The sun is out. Oh my gosh. So I thought I'd do a quick check-in with our new little dinosaurs who've been hiding in their coop with their friend, the goose, the most confused goose in the world. He used to think he's a turkey. Now he thinks he's a guinea, which actually is pretty funny. So I'm standing down at the barn. I'm actually waiting for someone to come and pick up their turkey, which is always exciting. They get to pick their new birds, and I know that feeling. And I thought I'd just do a quick check-in and a quick chat about another really funny situation, right? So recently I talked about why we picked the breeds that we did in terms of birds and the amount of eggs that each one lays. And so given the size of my flock, given the size of my family, we don't quite go through as many eggs as we get, even with hatching. I get a lot more eggs than I can use. So for a very long time, what I was doing with those eggs is I would ask my colleagues at work if they had empty egg containers to bring them in. And that was just a favor, right? Like, hey, don't throw it away, give it to me. No big deal. You're showing up to the same place I am. Doesn't weigh anything if you can bring me some containers. So suddenly I was flush with egg cartons, which was fabulous. And I started to return the favor by bringing in eggs to work. And I would put them on my conference table in my office. And anybody that I talked to throughout the day, I would let them know, fresh eggs are on my conference table. Feel free to grab a dozen. The only thing I ask in return is you bring the empty container back when you're finished, right? So take a carton and bring an empty carton back. Doesn't have to be the same day. I don't need an immediate swap out. Just, don't throw the carton away, bring it back so I don't have to ever buy cartons because that feels wasteful to me. And you would think that that would be a fabulous thing, right? And at first people were, I don't know, I'm going to call it weirded out about getting fresh eggs at work, right? They expect their eggs to be in the refrigerator at the grocery store, not in a corporate office. But quickly, we got a few fans. And, they realize it's the same eggs that you get at a farm stand or whatever. I'm just hand delivering them. And as my flock grew and matured over the years, what started with just being a couple of dozen here and there, I started to bring in 10 to 12 dozen eggs on a Monday, put them on my conference table, and they were there till they were gone. And that was an every week thing. And they always went. But it became a really fun social experiment. So I found that nobody would come into the office while I was there and take eggs. Nobody. But if I left for a meeting, or I wasn't there for a day, or I went down to lunch, or I used the restroom, all of a sudden I'd come back and eggs would be gone. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by them now. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. I don't know what they were alarming at, but they sure were busy about something. At any rate, so these eggs would disappear only when I wasn't in my office. And I found that so fascinating, right? And the other thing is, cartons would appear, but only when I wasn't there. This continued for years. And of course, over the years, I know who's taken them, I know who's eating them. And some people finally started to feel comfortable saying, hey, thanks for the eggs or whatnot. But it was just such an interesting experience to see that, like, I was genuinely offering free eggs. I don't want them to go to waste. We can't use them all. We can't hatch them all, or I don't want to hatch them all. And I would prefer that they get used, right? And so it's a win-win for everybody. But I guess that just made folks feel a little awkward. So only when I wasn't around would eggs disappear and cartons appear. It's like magic. I used to make fun every time I opened a meeting, oh, the elves were here. A couple of dozen eggs disappeared, but magically they left me some cartons. It's kind of like Geppetto's elves helping with Pinocchio or whatnot. Uh, I'm sure that reference was wrong. You can roast me in the comments. In fact, please do. Tell me what the right reference should have been for the elves that are taking my eggs and leaving empty cartons for me to fill. Because I'm sure it wasn't that one. But at any rate, I was thinking about that as I was talking about eggs, and it just always makes me giggle. Final thoughts on that, right? The reason that I didn't sell eggs, and everybody wants to know that. Why aren't you selling them? You should be selling them. Because I didn't want that pressure. Selling eggs means I need to have inventory. It means my customers that buy the eggs want me to have them available when they want them. And they get disappointed if they come to the farm stand and there aren't eggs there because either they were all sold out or I didn't have enough or the birds weren't laying enough or, who knows what. And it was just for, $3 or $4 a dozen, heck, even now for, $8 or $9 a dozen. That is not worth the stress on my life. To be worried about, Bob is going to stop by to pick up his dozen eggs and they may not be there because somebody else may have taken them. And I know people would tell me, that's not your problem to worry about. That's not how a farm stand works. Well, but that is how I work. I am all about, customer service. I don't want people to be disappointed. It's why I hatch on demand as opposed to just having, a whole bunch of baby birds at the beginning of the season. And, if they get bought, they get bought. And if they don't, they don't. I want people to know what they're going to get, to be happy with what they're going to get, and to be able to show up on the farm and know that they're picking up their turkey today, and those turkey are going to be there for them, as an example, right? So selling eggs was just not something that was for me. And if you watched my mini TED Talk on time management, it's one of those things that I would say doesn't serve you, so don't do it. So there you go. I've tied together my talk on the types of birds I have and why I have them, my talk on time management, which was sort of all over the place, and now my talk on social experiments. I hope you're having a fabulous day wherever you are. I hope that the weather has turned for you the way it has for us. I appreciate every one of you being here. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Send me a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about and what you want to see next. Thanks so much. Bye.